I got you, people. I'm sure everybody heard about this already. All the news is getting out there about that um, so-called great debater that he likes to talk and had conversations with all kinds of people. Basically, he goes to all colleges and things like that and gatherings and had conversations with anybody in the public and whatever topic they want to discuss, right? And his name is, Charlie Kirk. So the guy got shot, and supposedly they had a suspect, but that suspect wasn't lining up with the shooter, so they had let him go. And guess what? He got arrested for obstruction. You believe that? But I believe it because he probably was upset that they used him as a scapegoat, like already putting news out there that he was the killer of that Charlie Kirk guy, but he didn't match, so they let him go, and he still got rearrested for obstruction. And for those that know what is obstruction, it could be anything that you do from disturbing the peace, police activities while in their duties, and that's what happens. But anybody will get mad if you get arrested and you put in through these embarrassing moments. You're gonna get upset when they find out that it wasn't you, and they already publicized it that you was the supposed killer or the person in question of that killing. So that's what happened. So for that guy, Charlie Kirk, it's bad, but this country is getting out of hand. You can't even have a debate with people these days anymore because people are so sensitive. People are turning into bitches, and everything gets them upset. You don't know who's upset, and it becomes a battle of death. Nobody wants to be embarrassed in the face, especially on social media, and people are taking this thing seriously. People don't want to get lose they character anymore. Even if you wrong, you have to accept that if you wrong, you wrong. If you're right, you're right. And also when people make a mistake and accuse somebody of something, is they don't have the strength to apologize that they made a mistake. That's another thing that goes wrong here in this country, right, of America, especially when it comes to people in government and that are officials that harass our citizens and don't even have the audacity if they're making them to apologize to the citizen. That's why most citizens walk in anger, and this could happen to anybody. So this Charlie Kirk guy supposedly say it was an assassination killing, right? That means it was an assassination killing. It was planned. I mean, the detective said that it was from 200 meters away. So I don't know how he get that distance, 200 meters away, because that was a clean shot, and one shot deal kill. The person that did that shot was training, or he had training to do a shot like that for 200 meters. Not everybody could do a shot for 200 meters, believe me. It might be close, but it's still difficult, to do a shot like that. So the person that had committed this is supposed to believe this assassination. According to the officials, it was a political assassination. That means it was planned. Nobody does things like that unless they plan it and there was a plan. And the thing is, the security that was there was not enough. There was only 6 detail from the school and Charlie Kirk's security, right? And so they couldn't cover that. They said there was in that campus they have around 4,000 students. Now, who's gonna cover 4,000 students in an open area like that? And they said he was surrounded by buildings. I mean, nobody checked out anything. You could tell which direction of of the bullet when it hits something from where it came from. So they know all these things. These experts know all these things. They have forensics. They have all that. The technology is there. You could tell the distance and from where it came from, low, high. So whoever did this, he had to have a scope, a high power rifle, and he had training. So it's gonna be another John F.K. killing, scenario like that. And I don't think nobody should get killed for words, for just having a debate. If you can't handle the debate, you shouldn't be speaking with anybody in any subject if you can't handle a debate. That's for street people, pussies that can't take a debate, have a conversation with people. You get so upset, you get bent down to shape, and you want to start fighting, and you want to pull out a gun, a knife, and start killing people just because you lost the facts. Opinions you can talk about it, but when it's factual and you can't protect it and you don't know how, you shouldn't get upset. Maybe you should have never been in the conversation to begin with, because you don't understand what is having a conversation between fighting. Fighting is physical fighting. You could always have a conversation and you fighting with words, but words are not physical. It's just words that go into air and go into your conscious mind, and you got to know how to combat it and respond to it. You don't know how to respond to conversation, you shouldn't be nowhere where anybody having a conversation that you cannot handle. So this so-called famous, or whatever they call him, the great debater, because he was debating, go to college campuses and have all these debates with all kinds of people. His life got taken away just because debating. Another thing is that I didn't like what that detective said. He was an American. What he's trying to say, things like that. He should have said he's just a person. When you say an American, you telling people that he was, of that race, and he should have never gotten killed. It's no good. That's why you got these people going in turmoil, and this world will never get better because of those things that sometimes you don't understand, that those words that you say might hurt people and put people down, and people just retaliate in a harmful way, instead of taking it as freedom of speech. And if you say something that you didn't like and degrade you could degrade the same person too with words, but not by trying to get physical and trying to kill the person just because you didn't like what he said. His opinion matters and your opinion matters. So everybody should have the opportunity, to have a dialogue, have a speech, conversate with each other, and this country's got to get stricter and stronger on these youth that are killing and just creating chaos. That's why all these things, this youth keeps on doing these things, is the law doesn't protect anybody anymore. Everybody's out there going on a killing spree and getting away with it because they have a good time when they're in prison. Prison should be a time of repentance for you to do time and pay for it. Not so you could live there like you're in a Holiday Inn or on a vacation. You got to quit all that. And having the death penalty in Utah is not going to solve anything. You're just going to grab him and you're going to kill him. He probably wants that. He's going to go, he's going to get famous for a few hours, a few months. People are going to talk about him, and you're just going to execute him. No. Make him do hard life in jail. Make sure that he's protected, that he's not taking his life, and he's going to suffer in jail until the day he deceased. That's it. And people, with that, I'll let you go and you think about that. If you can't debate, stay out of the debate. With that, I'll let you go and you think about that.